you could be that catalyst that just changes someone's perspective in a second with your energy. I was in a jail cell facing life in prison at the age of 23, and I got sober, and I started taking accountability for my decisions in my life, and I started reflecting on who I could have been versus who I settled for, and I went through this massive transformation. Everyone that comes to us knows that they're made for more. Like, they just feel that in their heart, and that's a message I articulate a lot because that was me 12 years ago. I knew I was made for more, but I was stuck, and I didn't know how to change. I love seeing people go from not loving who they are to loving their lives and who they become. It's the most amazing experience you'll ever have. Because look at, when you realize how freaking capable you are and you put in the work to become that person, you can never forget that. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crane. Thank you guys for tuning into the message. Please make sure to share, subscribe, show me some love. I'm going to keep bringing these messages to you, and I hope that you're out there pursuing your dreams, man, because look, I need you to become the strongest, most elite, best version of yourself so that we can make a positive impact on this world together. You know, have you ever heard the term the collective consciousness? What that refers to is like, when I think positively, I'm just one person, and maybe I can inspire a couple people. But when me and you are thinking positively and taking positive action, and then we inspire a whole group, a whole community, a whole state, a whole nation, we raise the collective consciousness. Now people have awareness around what it takes to be successful. We educate them, and we demonstrate what success looks like by the way we live. That's called being the ultimate example. And in order to do that, you have to have extremely high standards. You have to be willing to work your ass off for long periods of time, and you have to fall in love with the process of who you're becoming. I can't think of anything better to do with my life than to dedicate my life to becoming the best version of myself so I could positively impact everybody around me. Like, it's the best feeling knowing that you're being an example at home for your children, for people at work, at church, in your community, at the fucking 7-Eleven around the corner. Like, dude, I'm bringing positive energy to the world. I'm not just one of those people that walk into a room and I just have my head down and keep it to myself. Like, I'm fucking making people feel good. I'm saying, hey, how you doing? Oh, I like that hat. Oh, man, I saw you walk in, you're smiling. Like, share that positive energy with the world. Dude, you could be that catalyst that just changes someone's perspective in a second with your energy. I love doing that. But you can't do that if you're not taking care of yourself and creating that energy internally. Like, that's what it's all about. Every day when I get up, my purpose and my sole focus is to eradicate any negativity, any thoughts, any feelings, anything at all. I'm going to completely obliterate that negativity through positive thoughts and actions. I'm going to center myself around gratitude, God's message for me for the day, that path. I'm going to go out and do the work that makes me feel proud of who I am. And in turn, I'm going to feel so good that I'm going to pass that positive energy to the world. You know, when this first started happening to me, you guys, I was in a jail cell. I was in a jail cell facing life in prison at the age of 23, and I got sober, and I started taking accountability for my decisions in my life, and I started reflecting on who I could have been versus who I settled for, and I went through this massive transformation, and ultimately, I believe that God put me in that cell for a reason. And in that moment, I dedicated my life to God. I remember I made a promise that I would do anything and everything that God called me to do in my life with the utmost effort to the best of my ability if I could just get a second chance to come home and show the world who I truly was. Like, that's all I wanted, man. I wanted a chance to prove to the world who I was because I had wasted my life, and I knew that I was so much better than I had demonstrated, and it fucking ate me alive. So I went on this mission, you guys, just to become the best version of myself. Every day, getting up early, reading, studying, working out. Like, I was more productive in my jail cell than I had been my whole life. I was more consistent. I was more disciplined. I was more dedicated. You know, everything I was doing, I was just doing to the best of my ability. And it was even these trivial little things, like when I'd clean my jail cell floor, I would do it like I was cleaning a palace, man, with so much focus, with so much effort. I wouldn't leave like any little crumb, any little piece of dust on that floor. It was my palace, man, you know? I was just in this Zen state where I realized like the effort you put into anything is a reflection of who you are. If my books were out of alignment, right? If my push-ups were half-assed, the way I spoke, the way I moved, every little thing was a reflection of who I was and who I was becoming. And so I just radically started changing my mentality around life. And so the years started passing by, and I was taking college courses, and I was reading books on personal development, and I was working out like a beast. I was running miles out in the hot desert sun on the yard. I was doing everything and anything I could to improve, and I was seeing and feeling the change in real time. And that's when other guys in jail started to notice who I was and how I was operating. And these guys would come up and go, Crane, can we work out with you? Hey, what books are you reading? And I started mentoring other inmates in prison just because they saw what I was doing and they wanted to partake. And I started seeing these guys change their attitude, their mentality. They were getting in shape. They were running farther. They were able to hang with me in the workouts. And I was like, damn, dude, this is really cool. Like, these are the hardest guys in the world to get to change. They're in prison because they made bad choices just like me, but I'm seeing them transform. They're talking differently. They have a different confidence and aura about them. They're talking about careers, jobs, moving out of the place they grew up in, like, better relationships. They're actually changing, like, their belief systems, All this stuff started to really click for me, and I realized this is my purpose. My purpose is to be of service to the world. I want to share with other people what I experienced in my life, how I changed, how I went from seeing the world in black and white to these beautiful colors, how I went from feeling dead inside to fully alive, how I fell back in love with life, and how I've been able to experience these inner, most amazing emotions of peace, of enlightenment. Like, I couldn't believe that I was experiencing that in prison. I had to share it with the world. I had to. And that's when I realized I'm going to speak on stages. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to build a coaching business. I'm going to change the fucking world. I knew it right then and there. I knew it. I felt it, man. And so I've been on a mission ever since to reach as many people as possible. And the sole purpose is to help them to make that shift internally so they can feel the way I'm able to feel now. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, but I figured stuff out. I went through hell and I got out of it. God gave me a second chance. And the stuff that I experienced is valuable for people. And that's why I share my podcast, post on social media, and do what I do. And that's really why I started Unstoppable 365. Unstoppable 365 started as me on my phone doing Facebook Lives during COVID. Like, I'd been working as a personal trainer, and I lost all my clients overnight because the shutdown. So I lost revenue and clients, and I had a family to take care of at the time. Young babies, my wife, Jessica, Scarlett was born, Preston was in her tummy, Mason was 10. And I was like, fuck, man, I gotta go all in. I know that I'm made for more. I'm just holding back, working in the gym. I gotta change more lives. And that's when I started picking up my phone and just sharing my story and providing value. And I started my online business that year, and it took off. And so for the next 2 or 3 years, I was grinding, I was just hustling. I was changing lives on Zoom and in person in the gym and on my phone, and I was building my online coaching business. I was hiring business mentors. I was learning how to structure and build an actual business and company. But for that first 2 or 3 years, it was straight hustle mode. It was just grind mode, 100%. But I started scaling that business, and I scaled it to a 7-figure business. And that's when I realized, okay, there's levels to this game. And, whatever goals are in front of you or whatever things that you need to change in your life right now, just focus on that. Don't worry about too far to the future. That next level awareness is going to come to you when you need to make a new change or take new action. And that's what happened to me. I would just focus on what was in front of me. What were the goals in front of me? Build a 7-figure business, change more lives, like get on stages, write my book. I did all that stuff. And then I got to a point where I realized, okay, if I want to turn this into a multi-million-dollar business, if I want to scale this to a 9-figure business, if I want to change millions of lives throughout the world, I got to build a team. I got to build a badass team of individuals that can help me fulfill this mission. One of my first hires was my COO, who was a tech guy. Basically, he could help me build the infrastructure of my business. I love speaking. I love coaching. I'm passionate. I like to work out. I don't like to sit there and fuck around on a computer and do tech stuff, right? So I went through an evolution in my own development, my knowledge, right? My understanding of how to delegate and recruit the right people. I should say recruit and then delegate. How to train them. Like, I had to become an actual business owner. I couldn't just be Sean, who was the guy hustling, Sean, the guy who was passionate, who has a prison story. I had to evolve, right? I had to change my mentality around my business and start to build out that team of world changers. So my COO was my first hire. I hired my first coach, Matt Fleming, who's been with me from day one. Actually, he quit his job at the gym he was working at to come with me full time. And Zimmy, who's been my videographer and one of my media guys, he quit working at the NutriShop, the 9-to-5 he was at, to come with me full time. So those were the first three people that started helping me build Unstoppable 365. But then I knew that I had to continue to build and expand. So since that moment, I've hired 12 more people and partnered with 12 more people. And the most incredible stuff is happening right now because I have assets around me. I have a doctor who's on staff, Dr. J, who does blood work for our clients. He can provide the right supplements. He can provide peptides. He really helps people heal all these ailments internally that they can't see, right? That you have to do the deep dive with the blood work to understand what's actually taking place. We have Madeline, our dietitian. She's amazing. Like, she's a registered dietitian. She helps our clients in ways that I couldn't because she has a different set of knowledge and skills than I do. We have Whitney Jones, 3-time Miss Olympia, who's running the women's division. Ashley Garcia, who's an IFBB pro, who's helping her run the women's division. So they're doing the weekly coaching, the programming for the fitness and nutrition for the women. Like, they're helping me build this company, right? And so we have all these different people who are now a part of Unstoppable 365, and the goals have gotten bigger. The vision's expanded, you know? And what we're really doing right now is we're helping individuals make the changes they want to make to ultimately become proud of who they are. Everyone that comes to us knows that they're made for more. Like, they just feel that in their heart. And that's a message I articulate a lot because that was me 12 years ago. I knew I was made for more, but I was stuck and I didn't know how to change, you know? And so we can expedite that process for them. We help them with their mindset. We help them to start having better thoughts, more positive thoughts, changing the way they think, because the way you think affects everything. Secondly, is giving them a blueprint every day to follow with workouts, with nutrition guidelines, with daily habits, things that if you look at that path, you know that it's going to lead to them becoming a better version of themselves over time if they're consistent. Reading more books, drinking more water, not drinking alcohol, not spending too much time on their phone, getting up earlier, working out, sculpting their physique, eating for purpose, not pleasure. Like, all these things that when you add them up, create the supreme version of who you want to become. So every individual on our coaching program has a different blueprint they follow. Their workouts are going to be based on their goals, their lifestyle factors, their body type. It's customized. Same with the nutrition. That's why we do the blood work. That's why we have Madeline on our staff. And we can really construct people's nutrition plans based on their goals and how to optimize their health. And then the accountability from the other coaches and myself is key. Because if you're out there trying to achieve your goals on your own, you might be one of those people that can do it. But imagine if you had a bunch of badasses, a bunch of people that really cared about you, a bunch of people that wanted to see you win, constantly pushing you, constantly checking in on you. Do you think that would force you to give even just 1% more effort in your life? And if that 1% effort compounded over time, who do you think you'd become in 25 years from now with that focus and mentality? That's the beauty of coaching and mentorship. It's going to push you to give more to this life. That's why I have mentors. That's why I've had coaches, because it forces us to give that much more effort each and every day. And over time, that adds up. The last component that we've been able to put together is a community of like-minded individuals. So the coolest thing is seeing all of these different men and women, hundreds of different men and women on a similar journey to becoming their best selves. They have similar backgrounds. Family men and women, business owners, people that want to live the ultimate life, people that have been settling, but they're sick and tired of being stuck and living as shadows of the person they know they can become. So when you put together a collective group like that of like-minded people, the energy is infectious. When you see other people winning and changing and taking action, it makes you want to show up, right? When you see these other people who have gone through struggles and they articulate their pain points and they're vulnerable and they open up, it allows you to realize, dude, you're not the only person that's been through shit. It's okay for you to feel the way you feel. It's okay that you've had some bad years. You're a human, but now you're in a group that's going to support you to make a change. And so the most amazing thing is Unstoppable 365 started with me just working on myself. Then it opened up the door for me to have conversations with other people and show them what I was doing. And I continued to develop this process to the point where I learned how to use my phone and technology to spread my message to people all over the country and world, right? What a great opportunity that I've been able to have using these phones and laptops and the technology we have in 2020 to 25 since I've been doing this. But then, you know, surrounding myself with other world changers, people that could support me, people that could push me to be better, people that I could collaborate with to make Unstoppable 365 that much bigger and better to help that many more people. And now it's really the community, because the community, these men, these women are the ones that are changing their lives. They're the testimonials. They're the ones that other people see on social media that give them inspiration, that get these other individuals that don't know us yet thinking, man, if that guy, if that woman can do it, maybe I can too. Like, dang, he got sober. He's been sober a year. Man, that guy lost 50 pounds. Like, look at these individuals. They look different. They look happier. Like, you could see the noticeable change in the way that their facial structure is, like their physique. Like, God damn, I want that for myself too. And so Unstoppable 365 is growing rapidly. And if you're a man or woman who feels stuck right now, if you know you're out of shape, you haven't been working out, you're not eating good, Maybe you have kids. Maybe you need to be a better example for them. It starts with you. And if you feel like you don't have the right plan, you don't have the right support, you feel like just being in an environment with other people who are making change would help you, I highly encourage you to go visit unstoppable365.com and look into the different coaching programs we offer. We have a wide variety of options for people because we want to make sure that from a monetary standpoint, the investment you make is something that you can afford, and we want to get you around us so that we can help you change your life. So go to unstoppable365.com, or you guys can always DM me. DM me on Facebook, Sean Michael Crane. On Instagram, Sean_Crane Official. I'm answering all my DMs. I want to be accessible to people because at the end of the day, no matter how big Unstoppable becomes, no matter how successful we become, at the core root of this all, it's about human connection and impact. And I love getting to connect with people, especially individuals that want to change, that are ready to make that commitment. I love seeing people go from not loving who they are to loving their lives and who they become. It's the most amazing experience you'll ever have. Because look when you realize how freaking capable you are and you put in the work to become that person, you can never forget that. And it's a catalyst for success for the rest of your life. Inner peace, fulfillment, self-love, and that attracts a whole different world and set of experiences that you never would have had otherwise. So love you guys. Make sure to visit Unstoppable 365 if you're ready to level up your life.